You came back to Hong Kong, and suddenly, on the strength of one picture, you become a superstar. Everybody knows you.
The word superstar really turned me off, and I'll tell you why. Because the word star, man, is an illusion. It's something what the public calls you. You should look upon oneself as an actor, man. I mean, you would be very pleased if somebody say, hey, man, you are a super actor. It is much better than, superstar. When I started shooting The Big Boss, the first question was asked, hey man, how many thousands of feet of films is it gonna be? My reaction is that, first of all, why do I start fighting?
The Big Boss was shot in Thailand, and my father was really at the stage of being very passionate about injecting himself creatively into the process. At the time, the martial arts films were fantastical, flying through the air, sword play types of films. Fight scenes are choreographed in the moment, and sometimes they didn't even have scripts.
In the movies made here, the dialogue is pretty stilted anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, see, to me, a motion picture is motion.
He really wanted the martial arts to have a sort of realism that did not exist in Hong Kong films up to that point.
Quality-wise, I mean, I have to admit that it's not quite up to the standard. However, it is growing, and it is getting higher and higher and going toward that standard. What I would term quality.
When it came to the martial arts, he was fighting every single day with the director to say, this is how this needs to be. And he was right, because it broke all previous box office records. Once The Big Boss came out and it was so successful, for the second film, Fists of Fury, they gave him a little bit more creative control. It was his idea to have it be this cultural tension between the Chinese and the Japanese, because that was something that was very true to the time because of the Japanese occupation of Hong Kong during World War II. And again, that film broke the box office records for Big Boss.
It's a very worthwhile death because I walk out and I say, fuck you, man, here I come. Oh, I leap out and leap up in the air, and they stop the frame, and then like Butch Cassidy and a Sundance Kid.
So he did these first two films. They were hugely successful. For his next film, which was Way of the Dragon, he wrote it, he produced it, he starred in it, he choreographed it. He really wanted to focus on the experience of the Chinese in a foreign place. The film takes place in Rome. He was really good at being able to tap into the storytelling for the audiences of the day and what would resonate with them.
You could see in his films, his philosophy it just effervesces. It just bubbles out of the screen. It's like, fight the oppressor. And I think that's what everyone latches on to.
It really shows the closest representation of what my father was like. He loved to tell jokes. He loved to have fun. And Way of the Dragon is full of those types of things.
Watching Bruce Lee on TV was sort of like this transformative moment for me. And I just watched this guy and his confidence and the way he moved and the speed with which he moved. Then the part where he fights Chuck Norris in the Coliseum, and it was just sort of like having discovered a whole new world, and I became obsessed with him after that.
Seeing Bruce Lee, it really was empowering. It felt like, wow, there's somebody out there that can just do whatever he wants. And it allowed me as a kid to think, why can't I do that?
These films that he did, there's a transmission of his energy in them. He worked on himself and cultivated that energy and infused that into everything that he did. The idea that if we do that for ourselves, that we can create impact is a beautiful message.
If I were born, let's say, 40 years ago, if I have a thought in my mind, I said, boy, I'm gonna star in a movie or star in a television series in America. Well, that might be a vague dream, but I think right now, maybe